Robert, you are in the cloud.
Yes.
But what does it mean to be in the cloud? Everybody speaks about, I have my photos in the cloud.
Yeah.
But it's sure, what does it mean?
You know, at its simplest stage, the back end, the cloud is just simply software, servers, technology, networking technology. It's just someplace else. And somebody else has got responsibility for making sure that it works well. And so if you put your photos in the cloud, what that means, your photos, your documents, what that means simply is it's not living in a silo, a hard drive that's on your desktop someplace. It actually is in a place that's accessible from multiple points, right, over your mobile device, etc. So accessible over a browser. And using certain protocols and conditions that relate to your identity and your ability to access your rights to access that data, the documents, the photographs. So the cloud means it's in some other location, and it means that it's
And it means that I can share I can put there to keep my photos there, every photo I take, my telephone numbers, my contacts. We already do it with any. It can be with Mac or with Android, but can I do that? It's for that, the cloud, to put everything there?
All it means is that your stuff is living someplace in somebody's data center, and you can access it using your browser or your dedicated mobile application. And different cloud providers have got different protocols for accessing, but essentially that's exactly it. For most people, the cloud is one huge storage bin for all their stuff to be put securely so they can access it or their friends can access it from wherever they are.
After what happened with a company there, a dating company that has all the data on the cloud, it is sure to have my photos and my personal documents and my checks account and everything on the cloud. It is sure.
Is it secure?
It is secure?
Yeah, I would say that there are definitely cautions about data on the cloud. We hear about breaches every day, and there's not a system that can be made by people that cannot be broken by other people. We see that time and time again. I would say that the people who, especially if you're using a paid-for cloud service, something for which there is it's called a service level agreement. If I use Google Apps, for example, I don't pay anything for it. I've got no expectation for sure that it will be protected. But if I'm paying for a service, I've got an expectation that this company is going to be providing me a level of service that is better than I could provide myself, my company, even inside my own home. I mean, it's very, very easy to hack into home Wi-Fi, for example, and look at passwords and look at keystrokes and look at data. It's done all the time, probably more than people recognize. So I just say security is very, very hard in computing in general. In the cloud, it's just another frontier.
How do you recommend people to use cloud for their business, for their personal life? Give me some advice on how to use it, because it's not just storage.
No, it's not just storage. Software as a service means using every application that you would use in your business or in your home life that's delivered to you as a service. So you pay a subscription fee for it. So what I recommend from a security perspective, there are various browsers and safeguards you can take within your browser that you're using to access things like turning off cookies, using secure HTTP, a whole variety of measures using browsers like Chrome, Google Chrome, but then getting there to the site, being sure that your provider is a trusted provider, and that not only can you put data on there, but that there's an agreement with the provider that you can take your data back off in a clean way that removes your relationship with that provider. It's very important. Most people don't think about that very much, but understanding that you own the data, that you're not ceding control of the data to a provider. Say, for example, you're using Salesforce.com for your marketing automation efforts, right? So you want to create a campaign. The assets, the graphics that you build, the customer addresses, all the other pieces that go into it, you have to own those things. You have to be able to take them off in a way that's usable if you want to bring them someplace else. That's another key piece.
How do you check that? Because it's very easy. I put it on the Google Drive, and everybody would compare it, or I use the iCloud, or anything, or the Salesforce. How do I'm sure that I'm going to get them back, and that is my material, right. and not they are going to close and I lose everything.
Right. So one of the ways is just to look at the file format that that it's being put into. So for example, if I'm putting a photograph into iCloud, for example, I know that it's still existing in that file format, and I can take it off, and it's still the same file format. If I'm uploading data up into a database to use for Salesforce, for example, can I get it back off in the same way?
That's a problem because I'm not just uploading a document. I'm uploading a database of them. So if they broke or they closed or they whatever, I cannot get back the data in the same day because I'm using their software. Is that correct?
That's exactly correct. And that's true whether you're using accounting software, payroll automation software, sales automation, any one of the SaaS products. And the thing to do is to simply ask the question, who owns this data? And in what form can I get it back? Is there a cost to get it back? I want to make sure that there's some portability attached to it so I can take it and pull it off if I want to and try another provider if I want to. That's really a key thing because you start building more and more sandcastles on that cloud provider, and at some point you get very, very stuck on them.
What else can we do on the cloud? Not just storage and use some platforms. What else can I do for my business? What can help me to grow my business?
If you think about the number of applications that are available, for example, on the App Store, the iOS App Store, the Apple App Store, and the Android Store, for example, Google Play Store, these are just examples of the kinds of what I would call long-tail functionality. So for every little piece of something that you want to do, there may be 4 or 5 or 6 different apps that exist to do that kind of thing. So for your business, you can do all of your HR function. You can do all of your payroll function, all of your general ledger functions, you would call it. You can do all of your marketing campaign. You can do your timesheets. Pretty much anything that a business requires to have done, there is probably a business software component of that, and there are also, for small businesses, there are app components of that. They're not as well integrated, and they may be no other great guarantee that they're going to work very well together, but there are choices out there for almost anything you need within the spectrum of business activity.
For many people, they keep a lot of material on the cloud. For some, they say, I'm not going to keep it on my computer. I'm going to put it on the cloud, everything. Others, they keep a copy on their computers. So you have huge material both sides. What is the recommendation? To keep it, to have everything on the cloud and forget about it? Others say, I'm not going to put my telephones and everything on the cloud. What is the recommendation? What do you have to have?
My recommendation is not driven by security so much as just practicality. So I kind of get in the middle. I'm kind of a hybrid. So storage is cheap. Storage medium is cheap. Media aren't cheap. So I keep a 1 terabyte drive at my home for all of the family stuff and all the stuff that's important to me, but I have it automatically back up to a cloud site. I use Box.com and a couple other ones on iCloud so I can make sure I can access it any place.
In case you lose your cell phone, you have the copies there.
Right, because they've got better redundancy than I do at home. I've got one physical drive. If it goes, I'm in big trouble. They've got multiple copies of my data in multiple places. And so the 2 things to recommend, you can store a backup in the cloud, which doesn't mean that you can search for an individual photograph or a document, for example, or you can store files in the cloud that are automated, that are part of an automated backup. So 2 different things. You should check when you're doing things like that. Am I creating simply a snapshot of all my stuff in the cloud that if I want to, if I have a catastrophic failure, I can restore? Or am I putting my stuff in the cloud, like file sync and share, so that I can go on there and I can take one individual file, pull it down, and look at it. So 2 different ways of looking at backup and storage in the cloud. So I advise having a local physical media, but having a backup going to the cloud for any kind of disaster.
Something else you want to share with us about what you do, about what your recommendation, about your work?
Sure, absolutely. So my work is to work with vendor clients, all the technology guys you can think of, including Kio, and user clients, businesses that want to understand what they need to do to transform the way they do IT. So for them, IT a lot is about enabling the business to do more and make more money. That's the kind of the goal of business. And so our work is around looking at the transition of technology from client server or packaged software to being operationalized, to being delivered as a service. And to us, that's a very valuable thing for my business customers to be able to have, because it means that they can get access, they can buy just what they need in terms of technology. They don't overcapacitize, they don't build the data center and stock it full of stuff that they don't know if they're going to get a return on their value out of. They're able to buy just what they need. And this is a good thing for both vendors, because they can provide customers with just the right size amount of technology, and they can understand how they're using it. And it's very good for users, so they can buy just what they need and get access to the latest and greatest functionality.
That's helping them to optimize their work, their jobs, and have more incomes.
We hope so.
All right.
That's
Thank
true.
you.
Yeah.
Thank you very much. I think it's very interesting. People doesn't understand. We use cell phones, we use the apps, but we don't understand what is behind that, and that there is a provider there that has to make money, and it's a user there. It's a complex word. How to understand it?
It's complex. And
Complex.
The job of the providers is to make things, as we call it, abstract the complexity and make it easier for you. That's at the end of the day, because we're used to installing things in our data center. It's so hard to do. Now it's easier.
Thank you very much. Welcome to Mexico. Nice to have you, not just in the cloud, to have you in person. That's something we have lost, but it's already nice to have and speak with you and have your advices for everybody.
It's a pleasure, Isaac.